Hi everyone, it's TheTidesChanging here, and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. This is another build for Newcrest, and with this build we're going to be finishing up one of the neighborhoods, so we're over a third of the way done now since I did make that spa build a while back, so slowly but surely I'm working towards filling up this world. I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but that still is a goal I really want to accomplish. But since this house is built on the 40 by 30 lot in this neighborhood, I want it to be a little bit nicer, a little bit more expensive. So this house does cost around 120,000 simoleons. I meant for it to be around 100,000, but I'm horrible with budgets as I've said in the past, so that of course did not work out, but I think for what you get with this house, 120,000 is pretty good because it's 4 bedrooms, I believe 2.5 bathrooms, and then there's also a lot of really nice stuff out in the backyard, like you have a pool, you have a hot tub, there's also a really nice dining area and some other stuff back there. So I feel like this house looks like it should be worth more than what it is. And with the style of this house, I tried to go for more of a Cape Cod look because I wanted this house to be 2 floors since I have been getting requests to make more 2-floor houses. But with the other houses in this neighborhood, I felt like if I had made just a regular 2-floor suburban house, it just wouldn't fit in since the other houses have a very cottagey kind of a look. So I felt like going for the Cape Cod look would be a good way to have it be a 2-floor style, but then, or a 2-floor house, but then it would go with a more cottage style since the second floor would be more built into the roof. The only problem is with how roofing is in The Sims 4, it was very challenging to do the roof, and I just spent so long in it just tweaking it, trying to get things to look right. And then you have the whole annoying issue with the roof popping through into the actual house. But fortunately, when you play with the walls on cutaway or down, you don't see the roof, so it does end up being fine as long as you don't play with the walls up, but it just is really annoying in build mode when you're trying to actually make the house. But I really like how this house turned out, and I've been looking forward to sharing with you all for over a month since I did finish this house before I started my new job back in February. And I'm sorry it took me so long to get this speed build out, but things have just been a little bit hectic lately with adjusting to a new schedule, and I've had other things I was focusing on, like trying to get the whole resort renovation up. But finally getting this up, and for those of you who have been wondering how the new job has been going since I have been getting questions, it has been going really well. I'm really liking the job so far, and for those of you who don't know, I am a mechanical engineer. And yeah, I really love the job, and I feel like I found pretty much the perfect job for me. So I'm mainly a design mechanical engineer, so a lot of what I do is just making 3D models of things, like, you know, have someone come up to me and say, hey, we need you to design this certain thing, and then I go ahead and make it, and then I haven't gotten to the point where I've been able to make a prototype yet, but once I get more into the job, that is something that I'll be able to do. For example, something I'm working on now is this sort of complicated clamp, because it has to be used for a very specific purpose, it fit into a cramped space, and this clamp also has to generate a specific amount of force, but it all has to be one piece, so using a torque wrench would be a good way to get an exact amount of force, but then the people who I'm designing this clamp for don't want anything that could potentially be lost, so I'm using springs instead, which makes it a lot more complicated. But I'm actually having a lot of fun designing this clamp, and when it's actually finished, I get to put a prototype together of it. And I could go more into detail on what exactly I'm making, but I could seriously go on for like 10 to 15 minutes about this, and I really don't want to have a third or half of a speed build commentary be me just talking about designing a clamp, so I'm not gonna go too much into it. But overall, I'm just loving the job so far, and honestly, like some days it doesn't really even feel like work. And there's also a lot of variety in what I get to do, because it's not just sitting at a desk and designing things. I also get to actually go out on the field and replace and upgrade parts. I've done a little bit with that so far, but I'm still new, so it's mainly just me going along with someone else and then them saying, hey, can you help me by doing this certain thing? But it's really cool, and I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of really awesome experiences out of this job, so I'm looking forward to getting further into my career, and I've just felt so much happier lately since getting this job, and I really hope that's something that has been showing in my videos lately. But yeah, I just wanted to update you all a little bit on what's been going with that and how that's been going since I have been getting questions about it. But right now I've gotten the whole roofing of the house figured out. Finally, it took me a lot longer than usual to get the basic structure of this house done. So now moving on to the floor plan, and that whole area just walled off on, I guess, the right side of the first floor is going to be the master suite. So you have the bedroom, you have the bathroom. There's also an office right there, and that area just walled off. There's also a very tiny 1x3 tile half bathroom. And upstairs you have 3 bedrooms and another bathroom. Right here, I think I was trying to figure out what to do with that extra tile of flooring behind the stairs, which is something that always annoys me with making houses in The Sims 4, since if I were to just delete the floor tile, it would make all the roof come in, and it just ends up being way more complicated than it needs to be. But anyway, I just figured out the whole layout on the 3rd floor. Oh, actually, I did go ahead and make the stairs 2 tile wide. So now that's actually done, and then I'm doing that whole thing with using the spandrels to make an arch that I've done in other houses before. And yeah, I believe that's pretty much a layout. Everything else is just open living area with the kitchen, dining, and living area. So I will be moving on to the landscaping in a little bit as soon as I get all the doors in here. With the landscaping, I really wanted to go with the rest of the neighborhood, so I did the same sort of thing I did with the fencing on, I believe it was Beach Cottage, where I had just white picket fence around the front of the house and then I had hedge fence around the back of it. So that makes the whole neighborhood sort of go together in a way. Plus I just really like that combination of the 2 different kinds of fencing, and I've just been using hedge fencing quite a bit lately. We also have some nice large oak trees for shade, and I can't remember if I keep the shrubs that I put on the corners of the fence at all. That's the problem with doing commentary for Speed Build over a month after you finish it. You don't quite remember everything that you did, but I'm pretty sure that's something I end up getting rid of, and I messed around with that for a while, like just with the whole, with what terrain paint I used and what plants and stuff I had. Now I'm adding a little bit more detail to the terrain paint on the front lawn, so just adding in some subtle lighter grass textures and dirt textures and flower textures. And here's when I went back to try to figure out what I wanted to use for the path going up to the front porch. I just tried a whole bunch of different things, went back and forth, throwing it through it, trying to figure out what worked best. And I'm pretty sure this brick is what I ended up going with in the end. I don't know why, I just had a lot more trouble than usual trying to figure out how the path going up to the front porch should look. So I just moved on from that for a little bit. I figured if I went on to go do something else, what to do would just come to me. And that is something I tend to do when I build. Like if I just get really stuck on something, I feel like it's best to just move on to something I actually have ideas for, because sometimes when I go back to what I was stuck on after taking a break from it, all of a sudden I know what to do. But yeah, what I ended up doing, I'm pretty sure, is I just deleted the end fence, so I made it more of a path that gradually widened as you went out towards the street and just put a few flowers along it, although I'm pretty sure I do get rid of the flowers because I was looking at it and I just realized it was a little bit too busy. Oh, and I also added in that little well that came with Get Together into the front yard. I just thought that that would be a really cute touch. And this house was finished before Romantic Garden stuff came out, so there isn't the wishing well from that in this front yard, but I guess if you wanted, you could replace that well with the wishing well. I think that well might be a little bit larger than the one that's there, but I'm pretty sure it'll still fit in if that's something if that's a change you want to make. But if you don't have Romantic Garden stuff, then you don't have to worry about downloading this house because there's nothing from that in it. I actually haven't worked on a new build since that stuff pack released, but something I did want to make is a cottage that combines stuff from movie hangout stuff and Romantic Garden stuff. So just a cottage with a very lush garden using plants from Romantic Garden stuff, and then also having sort of a bohemian style using items from movie hangout stuff. I've been getting a request to both make a build using bohemian stuff from, I was about to say Bohemian Garden, but I'm using stuff from movie hangout stuff and also stuff from Romantic Garden stuff. So I figured why not combine the two, because I feel like they actually go sort of well together. So I think that'll be the next speed build I try to work on. I do also have that pool that I started a while back, but that's a larger build, so it might be a while before that's finished. I actually haven't done anything with that since starting the job, unfortunately. I just haven't had as much time for building, so the only building I've really done is the resort renovation for the Sims 3 Let's Play that I have. But getting back to the build, we're moving on to the backyard now, so I'm just filling in the area where I want to have a bunch of plants with terrain paint. And I did put that glass thing that came with Get Together out in the yard, because I was thinking that it would work really nicely as a cover for an outdoor dining area. So that is something I work on in a short bit once I get all these plants and such in. And then of course you have the nice pool right out in the backyard, and then there does end up being a hot tub. And I think, what else did I have in the backyard? I think I also have some gardening boxes, and I'm pretty sure I also put in some of the monkey bars. So there's plenty of activities for your Sims to do in this backyard. When putting the plants down, I of course had to watch the cost of the plants I used and also the amount of plants I used, because making a really lush garden is a good way to drive up the cost of the house. So I just went for more of a spaced out look, which ended up working out pretty well for this house. So I'm just about finished up with that, and after that I put in one of those trees that came with movie hangout stuff in the backyard, and I believe that's where I put some monkey bars. So I actually really like using those trees over monkey bars, because I always feel like I have to light the area around them, but then I don't like just having a random garden light near them. So yeah, that works out pretty well. So I was trying to figure out what to do with the whole outdoor dining area, like how to border it. I thought it could look neat to have some shrubs around it. I've been really wanting to use like glass roof item for a while now, so I'm glad I finally figured out a use for it. So yeah, I'm just finishing up the whole painting the terrain under the shrubs thing, getting some plants at the end there, and that's about it for that. So just going around adding some grass underneath the trees. Okay, there we go with the monkey bar, so that is where I did end up putting it in. I think this backyard is actually one of my favorite backyards that I've done. Oh, I also got rid of that bit of concrete that I had around the pool. I thought that would look nice, but yeah, figured it would look better just have it be all brick. So right now I'm putting in the gazebo that I placed the hot tub inside of. Figured it'd look better to have the hot tub up inside of that instead of just randomly sitting out in the grass. And after do that, I don't think there's too much else that I really do in this yard, although I still do have to put in the table and do some other furnishing in there. The space around the hot tub is a little bit cramped, but I'm pretty sure Sims can still get into it. I mean, they're pretty good at navigating tight spaces, so I don't think there's really anything to worry about with that. That's where I decided to put in the garden boxes. And that's basically the gist of the backyard. There really isn't too much else that I added into it, so now I'm just putting in the finishing touches, like a little bit more landscaping, and then I still have to do some of the furnishing, and after that I'm going to be moving on to the interior finally. And I'm pretty excited to get to the interior because I just really love how the interior of this house turned out. I've been doing a lot of really cheap houses lately, so it's nice to be able to spend a little bit more money on this one since it wasn't quite as tight a budget. Budgeted houses are a nice challenge and all, but honestly, I have a little bit more fun just building houses where I don't have to worry about that at all, so I definitely want to do more houses where I'm just not even worrying about what I'm spending, like the Bohemian cottage I was talking about. It's going to be a small cottage, but I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up costing over 100,000 simoleons because I'm just gonna go nuts with the landscaping and the furnishing and everything like that. Like I'm just gonna use exactly what I want with it. Anyway, we're on to the interior now, and of course I'm starting off with the entrance area, just figuring out the stairwell and all that, and the wallpaper. It took me a little bit to figure out what kind of color I wanted to use, because I wanted to use green, but then blue and green's like my go-to for wall colors, so I was thinking maybe I shouldn't use that, but then I was like, you know what, I want to use green, so I'm just gonna use green. I also did a lot of overlapping of the movie hangout stuff curtains in this house, although, okay, never mind, I didn't keep that there. Yeah, I just end up using something else there instead, but I do end up doing that a little bit more throughout the rest of the house. Yeah, I feel like I think I didn't keep it there because there just wasn't enough space. And with the style of the interior of this house, I went for, I guess, sort of my typical mixture of traditional and modern. And that's what I'm tending to go for with these Newcrest houses, and that's just because this is like my version of Newcrest. So I feel like since it's my version of Newcrest, it should really be done in sort of my typical style, so with more traditional and cutesy exteriors, but then a mix of traditional and modern on the interior. So I haven't really been super experimental with the furnishing and style of these houses, but I figure I have other builds I can be a little bit more experimental with, so it's fine. But now I'm just working on getting a wall full of paintings going up the stairs to the second floor. I just thought that would look nice, but then I kept like pulling up paintings and then realizing they're very expensive and putting them back. But I got a nice arrangement of cheaper ones, so it ended up working out fine in the end. I'm pretty sure that's about it for the foyer area though, so now moving on to the living room, and I finally used the new fireplace that came with Get Together. That's another thing that I've been wanting to use that I just haven't. So yeah, I was pretty happy to be able to use that. And the living room space ends up being very cramped, and while the whole open area is pretty big, a lot of the little areas within it end up being sort of cramped just because of how I had arranged things. Like, I wanted the living room to fit into the space between the door and that wall because I didn't want to have a couch in front of the door going to the backyard because I feel like that's just like who wants to have to navigate around a couch when going out to the backyard. Like you just don't want to do that. You don't want to. I mean, it's a sim, so it doesn't matter. But realistically speaking, you wouldn't want to have to worry about opening your door into the. Well, I guess the doors would open outside, so it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't really even matter. But I think you get the gist of what I'm trying to get across. That yeah, basically that's just how I had to fit in the living room. So it's a little bit cramped, but I think it turns out fine in the end. And then the area on the other side of the door, I believe, I end up putting a piano into. But yeah, this living room's a little bit more formal than, it's not really formal, but it's a little bit more formal than the one in Suburban Ranch was. But it still does have a nice casual look to it. And I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I did get stuck on the furnishing for a while because I was trying to find that. Like, I think at this point, I felt like the living room looked too casual, but then I didn't want it to look too formal, so I just got sort of frustrated with it. But I think what I ended up doing was I just swapped out the coffee table, and that ended up making it look a lot better. I also was trying out other wall paintings because I just wanted to see if there's something that would look better. And here I'm putting in the piano because I was stuck, so I was like, let's just go do something else. I'll come back to the living room in a little bit. Here's when I was trying out other coffee tables, so I just used the one from Get Together, and I feel like that swap of coffee tables really gave the living room that slightly more put together look that I wanted it to have. Because this is a really nice house, so I didn't want the living room to look super cheap. That's pretty much it for the living room, so moving on to figuring out the decorations and stuff for the rest of the room. I also revisited the wallpaper situation because I had the neutral color on the walls, but then I thought maybe we need a little bit more color in here, so I ended up using that. I'm pretty sure I ended up using, yeah, I used this green color throughout the whole area. And that's not a wallpaper that I typically use, so I was pretty happy with that choice. But the next room that I moved on to is the kitchen. And the kitchen is kind of in a weird, really cramped space. Like, you have this nice, fairly large house, and then just has this teeny weeny kitchen, and that's just how it had to work. Because when I made this house, I didn't really think about the floor plan. I just built the walls and figured it out and just worked it out when I had finished with that, so things just fit in sort of oddly, and I thought about wrapping the kitchen round into that other area to the right of it, but I thought that would look kind of weird having the kitchen be like that, so yeah, I just left it like this. But even though this kitchen is really tiny, I still like how it turned out. And it has what your Sims need, so yeah, I feel like that's fine. Oh, I hope I remember to put a sink in. I'm gonna feel really silly if I completely forgot to put a sink in. Please tell me. Okay, good. We're getting the sink in. For a minute there, I was worried that I just forgot to put that in. Do I also put in a dishwasher? I think, oh yeah, I was thinking it might look kind of cool to have the microwave around that corner on that other counterpiece, kind of like it's a microwave cart, but I ended up getting rid of that. And here I changed the counters to more of a wood color. I guess I didn't put in a dishwasher after all. For some reason, I remember putting in a dishwasher in this house. Maybe I did. Maybe I'm just forgetting. Maybe I do that a little bit later on. Yeah, there's where I got rid of the little, oh yeah, I did put in a dishwasher. Okay, I was right. Yeah, and then you have that annoying, the sink is halfway under a window and halfway under a counter thing, but since this isn't a house where I was going crazy and spending whatever, I didn't really want to spend extra money putting in extra counter pieces, so I just left it like that and just kind of dealt with it. As far as the rest of the space in this main area, right here is going to be the dining area. So I just used a more rustic table with the bubble chairs. That is a combination that I really liked, and I felt like that was something that worked pretty well for this house. And then that area in front of the other window, like that other little area, ends up being a office area. Although there is a separate room that's an office, but then for whatever reason I just made another computer area out here, and my logic with that was that the office is maybe one of the parents, or more so the parents' computer area, and then the computer that's out here in this main area is more so for the kids to do their homework at and that sort of a thing. And I don't think I put a computer in any of the upstairs bedrooms. I might have. I don't really remember because, again, I finished this house a while back, so it's kind of coming back to me as I'm watching over this. But maybe one of the bedrooms upstairs has a computer, so yeah, I guess it still works out having this computer area in here. That was really the only thing I could think of to do with this. I also put in some shelves on either side of the desk just to make it look like it was sort of built in, and I ended up raising up some books and putting that on that. And then you also have a wall bookshelf in there, so yeah, it's also sort of a reading area. And the computer in the office is, of course, a little bit nicer than the one that's out here. I mean, that's how it has to be. So this area is just about finished. I'm just getting the rug in, and then I think I still add in a movie poster or something like that, like some sort of wall decoration. And then also, I was gonna put that bookshelf in it first, but then I thought given the small space it'd be better to use that wall one. And then there we have a painting. And yeah, that is pretty much it for that little area. Yeah, I ended up replacing it with a movie poster. That's what I thought I used there. And there are quite a few movie posters throughout this house, so I guess you could think of the family who lives here being really into watching movies together. That's just what I was sort of thinking as I was placing all that. So now I'm quickly furnishing this little half bathroom that's off the kitchen. It's just like the least amount of space you can have a half bathroom be. And my main reasoning for putting that in there was so that the staircase would line up with the walls on the second floor, and then you wouldn't just have this awkward one-tile space on the other side of the stairs. Hopefully that makes sense, but yeah, that's why I put that bathroom in there. And now moving on to the study, and this is more of a casual study, because I have done some more formal studies recently where you have the nice desk and then you have two chairs in front of them like it's for a meeting, but this one's just a little bit more casual with the desk facing the wall, and you have a little reading area over here. Yeah, there's not really much in here, but I did think it would be fun to mix in some yellows in with the purple, so that's sort of the color scheme that I used in this room. So now I'm moving over to the desk side of the room, getting in a desk over here. We also have some fun, colorful wall paintings. This office is pretty simple, but I still really like how it turned out, and oh yeah, that was where... what did I do? Oh no, I did have the same type of computer, and I thought I put a nicer computer in one of the spots, but I think all I did was I just changed the color of the one out there so it looked like it was a different one, but it was the same one because for whatever reason I didn't want to make the one that was out there the cheapest computer. And I believe that's just about it for this office, so we're just getting in a rug, and then after that I moved on to the master bedroom. And the master bedroom has a very light and airy feel to it, and I really like that. It's just got a very bright and cheery look. I really like how this room turned out, so yeah, I used that really light beige color, and then also went with the lighter bedspread color for the bed. We also, yeah, so I'm just getting all the furniture in. I was surprised by how well the wood on those nightstands matched the wood on the bed. I mean, I know you don't always have to have wood match exactly, and that's usually not how most homes are, but with bed sets, I kind of like having everything go together. I didn't go too crazy with the furnishing in here, though, because I didn't want things to get too expensive with this room. We also have a nice ottoman at the foot of the bed. And what did I go work on next? Oh yeah, I wanted to have a vanity. Oh yeah, I was trying to figure out where to fit in a walk-in closet. Yeah, I didn't end up keeping it there. I just stuck it in that area right there, so it kind of goes into the bathroom a little bit. And then that area where I was trying to stick the closet in next to it ends up being where I put a dresser in. But what I decided to put in over here was a vanity. I just thought that'd be a really nice touch to have in this bedroom. It took me a little bit to figure out what kind of table I wanted to use, and I also decided to put that little poof under it as a seat because when I've done vanities in the past, I ended up using bar stools, but that little poof seat I think just works out perfectly there. So now I'm just getting on all the little cosmetic items, and I did that thing I've done. Oh yeah, I just did that thing where I just placed a bunch of them using Move Objects sheet. Also have a trash can, just because to me that makes sense as a thing that you'd have near a vanity. I guess just because like I have a vanity and I have a trash can near it that I just throw like wrappings from makeup and stuff in. So yeah, I figured that was a logical thing to put there. I didn't know what to do with this corner, so I just thought it'd be nice to put a chair in there. And then over here I'm getting the dresser in, and we're just about finished with this room. There's really not too much else that goes into it. I'm just getting a couple of standard decorative type items on top of this dresser, also throwing in a rug into that area. And after that, I go on and add a painting into this area, and I think that's about all I do in this room. Although it took me a little bit to figure out what exactly I wanted to use in that spot. Yes, I think that sunflower painting is what I ended up sticking with. Also wanted to get some accent walls in, because I just felt like the neutral color everywhere just wasn't enough. Like, it needed a little bit more pizzazz, or like to look a little bit more interesting. But now moving on to the master bathroom, and I would have liked to make this bathroom look a little bit more grand, like have that corner bathtub that looks sort of like a jacuzzi tub in there, and then maybe a shower in addition to that. But the whole budget thing kind of got in the way of me furnishing this bathroom exactly how I wanted to. So since this is a rather large bathroom, all that's really in it is a sink, a toilet, and that bathtub and shower combo, which I guess is more practical than including a separate shower and bathtub anyway, so it works out. But I do like having the separated bathtub and shower and master bedrooms just because that's what a lot of houses have, and it just makes it look a little bit more grand. But again, with this bathroom, I had to keep things a little bit more practical, so I couldn't do that. I still like how it looks, though. That's about all that I really did in this bathroom. So shortly, we're going to be moving on to the second floor and furnishing the other 3 bedrooms and the other bathroom. Couldn't really put too much into this whole landing area up here because the space is a little bit small. Also threw another movie poster up there. I really like those posters. They're just fun little decorations to use. And the first room that I furnished up here was what is going to be the child's bedroom. So upstairs there's a child's bedroom, and then there's 2 teen bedrooms. And I really like the one that's sort of set into the dormers off to the left of the stairs. I just really like the shape of that room, although it was a bit of a challenge to furnish, but that just made it more fun to furnish for me. Because I always like furnishing more interestingly shaped rooms more than just basic square rooms like what this room is. But I kept things pretty simple with this room, just mainly used the items that go with the light blue color scheme. Although I try to switch it up a little bit by using a different desk and a different desk chairs. So again, I have that bubble chair that I use all the time. Yeah, this bedroom didn't really take me too long to furnish. I think we're getting pretty close to finishing up with that. We're just adding a rug in there, and then I do have to go through and add in a few different kinds of wall decorations all over the walls in here. Guess I was also thinking about changing out the dresser for something else, because I was feeling like I was sticking with the theme too much, because it's so easy when furnishing kids' bedrooms to just grab everything from the matching color set, and I feel like that's too easy when furnishing, and like I have to be a little bit more creative than that. So I just spent a little bit of time trying to switch out some items, although it does look like I ended up going back to that dresser. So I guess what I ended up doing was I just decided to just stick with all the items with that set anyway. I don't remember exactly what I was thinking at the time, but I guess I figured if it looks good, why not just go with it? You don't need to overthink things so much. So now I'm just, oh yeah, so that room's actually done, so now I'm moving on to the bathroom that's up here. And I think I did sort of the same thing I did with the bathroom in, what was it, Suburban Ranch, where I mixed the Spa Day floor tiles with that particular wallpaper, because that's just a combination I found that I really like. And then I also use that combination in the Oakenstead renovating series that I have going on right now. But yeah, this bathroom is just super quick to furnish because it's a rather small one, so that's already done. So now we're going over to the first of the teen bedrooms, and with this bedroom I ended up having a pink color scheme, and that was because I wanted to use some of the louder, or one of the louder curtain patterns that came with the Bohemian Garden. Why do I keep calling it Bohemian Garden stuff? Oh right, that's because there was that Bohemian Garden set that came with the Sims 3 store. That's why I keep doing that, but anyway, I wanted to use one of the more loud patterns that came with the movie hangout stuff curtains, and I felt like a pink wallpaper would be what really went with that best, so that's just what I went with for this room. And I like how it turned out. I actually don't use pink wallpaper too much, so that was a nice change for my furnishing, I suppose. And I did go back and forth on the curtains a lot. I just spent a while trying to figure out which of those patterns I wanted to use. I ended up using this little nook in here as a desk area. I just thought that would work out perfectly. I didn't really have a specific sort of interest in mind when I was furnishing this room, but that was also because there wasn't really a lot of space to add in skill building items. Because sometimes when I furnish rooms, I like to think of, oh, this Sim's into exercising, or this Sim's into guitar, or something like that, but this room isn't really geared towards that. I did put that cool kitchen stuff wall decoration above the desk, because I was thinking maybe it could be jars of art supplies or something like that, so perhaps in some way it actually makes sense to have it there, but I thought that looked sort of cool, so I just went with it, and here I'm revisiting the whole curtain situation. So those curtains that are currently there are what I end up settling on, and I thought it would look a little bit better to have an accent wall than just all pink. So I threw in that brick that I used out in the foyer area. Now we're on to the last of the bedrooms. And as I mentioned before, the shape of this bedroom made it really fun to furnish. Although it's kind of hard to figure out where to put the bed in because those dormer areas were only 2 tiles deep and then the bed's 3 tiles, so it unfortunately came out of there a little bit, but I mean, it's not a huge deal. That just bugged me a little bit as I was furnishing this room. So I believe this room ends up having more of a green color scheme. I could be wrong this, but I think when I made it, I was thinking of it as a room for Sim who's maybe into movies, because I do believe I end up putting a bunch of movie posters throughout it. Oh yeah, that is what I did. But I'm almost done with the building of the house, so before leaving off, I wanted to mention that if you want to download this house I'll have a link in the description. There'll also be some other information there on how to find this house on the gallery in-game. That's all I wanted to say, so I hope you enjoy the rest of this video.